Not only does the Final Cut Camera app give you professional controls and settings on your iPhone for free, but it also maximizes your workflow in Final Cut Pro, whether you're taking the camera footage from your phone to your iPad, from your iPad to your phone, or from both to the Final Cut app on your MacBook. The seamless integration between all devices is probably the best thing about this app. So this app came out about a week ago. It is of course an iPhone exclusive because it's made by Apple, and Final Cut is a Apple exclusive program. However, if you have an iPhone, go to the App Store and download it because it's completely free. There have been some other apps similar like this in the past. Some are paid, some are free. Blackmagic makes a really great one. I'll probably make a separate video about that, comparing the two. But for this video alone, it is just gonna be for iPhone users. So let's get into it. So for this example, we're gonna be using this Porsche Lego here that I put together. And you can see right now it's in ProRes log. We'll pretty much just walk through the app together, and then I can kind of show you each of the different things. What's great about this app, I think, compared to the Blackmagic one, is because it's a little bit simpler. There's not as many bells and whistles. So I think if you're new to using kind of these prosumer professional settings and options, it'll definitely be easier to consume and understand. So right off the bat, I am in ProRes log. That's why you kind of get this kind of weird grayish zero contrast, because it's capturing as much dynamic range as it can. So when you go into post editing and you do your color grading, you'll have the most bandwidth in terms of capturing the colors that you need and really color grading it and correcting it to your liking. But of course, if you don't like that, you can change it. So again, I'm in ProRes. You can do H.265, which is just another codec. Again, if you're not familiar with that, don't worry about it too much. Most of you will probably just be in, let me flip my phone this way. Probably just like Rec 709, which is just a standard profile that you'll get on most cameras, and of course, most TVs and laptops will render that. All of them actually should render it, not most. So again, still in ProRes. If you don't have, maybe one of the newer M1 or M2, I guess M3 now, MacBooks or computers, maybe switch it to H.265. It might just be a little bit easier on your hardware. Of course, you can change if you want 4K or if you want 1080p. 24 frames a second is also an option. Again, that is the cinema standard, I guess you could say. 25 FPS, we don't use that in this region. 30 FPS is another good one, and then 60 FPS is going to be more for if you want to get some nice slow motion. You would shoot in 60 frames and then lower it down to 24 frames or 30 when you're editing. So again, I'm gonna go to SDR. You can do HDR. I don't really care for HDR, so SDR. If I was doing log, I would definitely want to be recording to some sort of external device, because these log files are going to be pretty large. As you can see here, I have 19 minutes of record time while in log, so that may not give me the best option if I'm going to be out recording a project or something. So you can see here up is the volume. You can see the audio meters there. Of course, if you have an external microphone or something plugged in, you want to make sure that you go into settings and make sure that it's picking up that audio. So if you go to settings here and then audio, then the source is this device. Of course, if you had other ones plugged in, then you would of course select that option. The tools here are really nice. This is a grid overlay. And of course you can change that. I like the grids. I use that on the cameras that I use for these videos because it really helps me with my composition and setting things up and framing things correctly. So I definitely like to have the grids on. Aspect ratio guide. This is just maybe if you're shooting, square or 4:3, you can see these grids change. So if you're recording maybe an Instagram video or something for Facebook or whatever, and you don't want that classic 9:16 look, or if you're holding it this way, 16:9. Then you can change those aspect ratios to make sure, again, that you're framing correctly. Going back into the settings, overexposure indicator. This is kind of self-explanatory. If you are overexposing something, then it will kind of let you know, hey, it might be too bright. I don't know if I can get it on here. There it goes. You're overexposing. The car is way too bright. As you can see, the pink kind of lines there. Hey, you're overexposing it. Maybe tune it down a bit. So let me close out of that. That's what that is. Focus peaking. If you are shooting maybe with a manual lens, now there is manual options on here. So if you are shooting in manual, it will kind of show you where that focus is. So if you need to rack focus or change it for any reason, that will give you some guidelines. That's pretty much for tools. Again, it's pretty bare bones right now. I don't know if they're going to be adding more later. Again, as I mentioned, Blackmagic does have a little bit more of an advanced camera app for your phone. They're both free, so again, definitely check them out. But this one definitely does not have as many features. So the codec, we kind of went over that already. The format, the color, and the dynamic range. Stabilization, you can stabilize your footage. The iPhones have really great in-body stabilization, so you probably don't even need that on. If you want to have it, if you're doing a little bit more action or run and gun type things, maybe turn it on and kind of compare it, but I don't think you'll need it. And then of course you have mirroring the front camera if that is something that you would like to do. And then there's those tools again. Now back more towards the bottom, let me turn it this way. You can see that I'm in 24mm. You can switch it between 13mm to get the little bit wider shot, or 77mm if you want maybe a tighter shot here. What's also nice is this magnifying glass here. You can pretty much it has like a digital power zoom, which actually works really well. I was really surprised to see that feature. It's not as choppy, and it's not like it's switching between the lenses. It's still in the 24mm lens, and it's just giving you a nice digital power zoom there. Same thing if you were in the 13mm and you want to zoom it in, you can kind of get the same effect depending on what you're looking for. So let's go back to 24mm, and then sliding up here, this little light bulb here is going to be your white balance. So you do have an auto white balance option. You can set it to a fixed amount if you know what you kind of want in your video. Daylight is 5600 Kelvin. If you're not familiar with white balance, it might go over your head a little bit, but the basics of it is whatever you're setting it to, that is what you're telling your camera pure true white is. So if we're saying that 5600 Kelvin is true white, then you kind of get this car is not exactly white because it would show up that way, and then the colors adjust from there. So if you want, say it's 3200 Kelvin, it's saying it's true white is at 3200. So anything over that is going to kind of give you kind of this strange blue cool tint. And of course, the opposite, if you go up to 7000, it makes things a lot warmer. So that's white balance. And then you have, this is your shutter, kind of your exposure. This will give you a good exposure. So your shutter here, you can set it to whatever it is. Of course, the higher you go, the less light is coming in. So be wary of that. The standard for shooting 24 frames is you want to double it to 48. Most shutters don't have 1/48. This one does, but some cameras don't, so you have to go 1/50. But since this does, we will set it to 1/48. ISO, this again, you have I'm not gonna tutorial you on video settings, but ISO, of course, the lower it is, the less noise you'll have in your image, but sometimes if it's too dark, you need to raise it up a bit. So you have your ISO there. Autofocus, again, you set it to auto or you can set it to manual. And if you want to have, I don't know how well this will pick it up, but if you want to maybe focus on the tool chest, you see how it's green because we have the focus mapping on, and then the car is not in focus, and then we can kind of throw the focus forward, and now the car is in focus and the back is out of focus. So you can do a lot of creative things if you want to have manual focus. Again, if you're new, maybe set just normal autofocus and let the camera do all the work for you. So that is pretty much it. The last one is just if you want to have your phone unlocked and turned sideways and anything like that. But it's a really great tool. Again, if you are working in Final Cut and you're doing a lot of work on your phone, this app I think is a must-have because again, it seamlessly connects to the Final Cut app on the iPad. It works for, again, seamless airdropping of just footage from your phone to your MacBook if you're gonna work on Final Cut Pro. And one of the features I haven't tried yet is if you are on your iPad, you can actually do multicam switching. So you can connect this and 3 other, I guess, iPhones together, and then you can have one person with an iPad, kind of like the director. And if you're filming something, you can just kind of switch in between everything, where they can see all the different angles and they can switch in between, and it becomes this really nice and pretty seamless multicam shot that you have. So again, having this for free, again, if you don't even use Final Cut and you have an iPhone, this app is great if you want to start making content on your phone. Again, phones these days take awesome videos. There's not really a reason that you, if you want to get started with making content or making videos, there's really no reason that you can't, because one of the best cameras you have right now is in your pocket. And again, you have this tool for free that will unlock its full potential. So thanks again for watching. If you like this video, maybe consider liking and subscribing. And until next time, I'll talk to you later. Peace.